Hi, and in this video we're continuing with Key Area 3.3 all about memory, this time looking at short-term memory. So if you can't remember what we talked about previously, you can always go back and watch those videos. So short-term memory still has a limited capacity and can only hold information for a short period of time. So there's a lot of variables that affects this. So we usually say something around 5 to 9 items for about 30 seconds, but it really does vary by individual and for many different factors. But the retention rate of the short term memory can be improved by techniques such as chunking, so where we take larger bits of information and break them down into much smaller, more manageable chunks. And a good example of this is thinking about telephone numbers. So rather than remembering it as a long string of individual numbers, we tend to break it into distinct sections, which makes it much easier to memorise. We can do the same with remembering words by putting them into categories, putting them into these smaller chunks. So the memory span of short term is limited and can change. But something that we do tend to see at memory tests on larger scales is what's known as the serial position effect, where things at the start of the list and things towards the end of the list are more likely to be remembered than those items that are in the middle. So we can improve that retention by rehearsal, that repeated exposure, but most things will be lost from your short term memory through either displacement, because new information has come along and taken your focus, or because you stop paying that attention to it and it has begun to decay. So we also have a sort of subdivision of our short-term memory, something known as working memory, and this allows us to process data as well to quite a limited extent store it as well. Okay. So this working memory model is what allows us to do things like simple cognitive tasks. Take for example mental maths. It's why we can hold the different numbers in our head while we manipulate, we add, we divide, whatever it is we need to do in order to complete these tasks. So let's try some past paper questions. So pause the video and hit play when you're ready to see the correct responses. So in this question, you're told any information which is not transferred into long-term memory is displaced. So explain why displacement occurs. So this is to do with the limited capacity of the short-term memory. So because it has that limited capacity, that limited span, can only hold around 7 items of information. Ultimately, new information will come along and displace what we are currently focusing on. So because of that variety in the span, it will accept anything between 5 and 9 items. You don't need to mention the time specifically. Again, that 30 seconds varies so much, but mentioning of it will not negate, will not lose you any marks. So the second question, explain why information can be lost by displacement from short-term memory. So this is essentially the same question, but it's just to let you see the different ways it could be worded or phrased. So again, it's about getting to this idea of the limited capacity, the limited storage that the short-term memory has. So hopefully, again, you're still finding this fairly straightforward, happy with everything we've covered. Anything that's still unclear, please do let me know.